Welcome back, guys. Dirk the Red Panda here with Tennis Ace. On this episode, we're going to be finishing up Day 9, which includes the piano competition, and that's going to be starting from the part where we were choosing whether or not to praise Shuichi. And with nothing much else to say, let's get into the reading. I reach upwards to put my hand on top of his head, petting affably a few times, even scratching at the back of his ears a little bit. You did good, Shu. Jeun is going to be very happy that you made it. He blushes furiously, looking down at his feet instead of at me. Thank you. Yeah, you did great, man. It was really nice that you went through all that trouble for Jeun. Well, it wasn't that much trouble. From the corner of my eye, I see Keisuke stifling a laugh. He's never seen Shuichi being bashful before. I'll admit, it's quite a 180 from his usual attitude. A devious idea shines in my mind and I don't hesitate to try it. Yeah, you did good. You did very good. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? He blushes further, muttering out his words almost incoherently. Hey, wait a second! He steps away from me, looking super pissed. What did you almost make me say? Unable to hold it any longer, Kei-kun bursts into laughter, making Shuichi finally remember that he was actually there. I have no idea what it is I just saw, but I'm glad to have seen it. What? Shuichi blushes something fierce. Even the tips of his ears go red as they both flop downwards on his face. You'll pretend you never saw this? We both know that that's going to be impossible. You suck. I'm well aware of that. What else is new? You already had your fun, Kei-kun. Lay off of him a little. Aw, I was just getting started. Well, just stop, okay? Alright. I won't tease him about it anymore. Thank you. Shuichi breathes a sigh of relief as his entire body relaxes. Alright, fine. Enough with the Shuichi game. Sure, let's play the please go pat yourself dry in the bathroom game instead. I heard it's very fun. And while you're at it, please use some deodorant. This strong smell of sweaty dog is offensive to my nose. What? Now you're just going out of your way to insult me. Kei-kun pinches his nose again and starts breathing through his mouth. I'm doing no such thing. My nose is just really sensitive, and the smell is starting to make me nauseous. What? Nico, you don't mind it, right? I don't really mind your smell. What? See, I too. But that doesn't change the fact that you're in public. You should take other people into consideration. Even if Kei-kun and I don't mind it, there are other people who are going to be sitting next to us. You should do it so as to not bother them. Why is it that you're only reasonable when being reasonable is something that would annoy me? Why are you being so against this in the first place? I can't believe you'd be okay with being sweaty and smelly in public. I'm not. Shuichi kicks up some dust from the floor, looking down at his feet. Oh god, I'm not gonna wait 15 minutes for you to finally admit this. I turn to Keikun. Shuichi's afraid of public bathrooms. What? You're such a tattletale! What? Why? Why would you be afraid of public bathrooms? I'm not afraid of them, not exactly. I just think they're really, really gross, and I'd rather not go inside one. I feel like I can catch an STD just by breathing the air inside them. What? This building is national property. The whole place is spotless. You could eat off the bathroom counters. Ew, no. Don't say that even as a joke. I think I can feel my stomach crawling up and curling itself into a ball. You're weird. I guess that explains why I never saw you going to the bathroom whenever we go out. But wait, what about school? Doesn't that count as a public bathroom? Are you kidding? I spend more time at school than I do my own home. That place is already a second home to me. What? But that doesn't make any sense. Shuichi scratches his neck, looking away. In essence, Shuichi is basically just weird. How cruel of you to say this to my face. Oh please, I didn't say anything that you yourself haven't said before. What? But screw it. You're right. Keikun and I laugh at his reaction, making him shoot us a death glare. So I don't like dirty places, so what? Everyone's got something they don't like. Yeah, but people don't usually have fears that keep them from doing something as basic as going to the bathroom. I already told you I'm not afraid of going to the bathroom. I'd rather stay away from it because it makes me feel uneasy and uncomfortable, okay? Dude, that's the textbook definition of fear. Keisuke laughs, making Shuichi shoot him yet another death glare. Bite me. Are you sure? Hair's have pretty strong teeth. He opens his mouth a little, pointing at his teeth. What? I didn't mean literally. Too late. Keikun lunges at Shuichi with his mouth open, going for his neck. Are you a hare or a vampire? Shuichi reacts fast, pushing him away. What? No! Keikun falls back, laughing. I'm sorry, your reaction was just too funny. I couldn't resist. You do realize we're in public, right? So we're horsing around a little. Big deal. You have the weirdest sense of humor. And of timing. It's the pot calling the kettle black. Okay, you two, behave. I don't want to be seen with two guys acting like complete lunatics in a public place. Why do you even care? It's not like you're going to meet these people again. You're an athlete. You're part of a completely different circle. People who go to tennis games don't usually attend classical music competitions, so it's not like any of them know you. Oh really? Because you, me, Shuichi, and Saya all go to tennis games, and yet we're here. Well, yeah, but that's because we know Jeun and he's competing. Yes, and if it's possible for those circumstances to exist for us, doesn't it also stand to reason that it can be true for someone else? Besides, you yourself admitted that you like classical music. I suppose you're right. I guess I went a little bit overboard. Yeah, besides, if Nico is the one lecturing you about this sort of thing, then you should take that as a clear sign that you need to rein it in a little. Hey! That's true. What? I'm not that bad. You're the ones who keep arguing in public and end up getting people complaining about you. Remember that time in the diner a while back? Ugh. I give him a smug smile. Yo, we're back! So I see. Did everything go okay? Yeah, they just opened an exception for me since I was actually increasing the difficulty in my performance. Although they did say they'll double the amount of points deducted for each mistake I make. What? That's crazy! Why would you agree to that? I'm not planning on making any mistakes. Haha, see? I asked him the same question and he answered me with the same thing. Sai gives him a few enthusiastic slaps on the back, laughing. She nearly sends him down to the floor. When did you get so bold, Kobayashi-kun? Ow, ow, Mizuguchi-san, please stop slapping me. What? Not you too? I'm not even that strong. I'm not Shuichi. It's not about being strong, Saya-chan. It's about not knowing how to control your strength. Oh, like I want to hear that from you. Sai gives him a cold stare. What? I don't hurt people at random. Anymore. I added to his sentence. Yeah. Anymore. Saya huffs, unamused. Alright, I won't touch anyone ever again. I'll spend the rest of my cold, sad existence without knowing what the warmth of another person's touch is. Are you happy now? She starts being melodramatic in an attempt to state her displeasure. Yes. Without batting an eye and giving no attention whatsoever to her drama, Jeun answers her with a single word. Jeez, that's cruel, Kobayashi-kun. Anytime. He answers with a feigned ignorance. The reason I can tell it's not legit ignorance is because his mouth is quivering with an attempt to suppress laughter. You know, you two could definitely form a comedy duo. Kobayashi-kun could be the straight man, and Mizuguchi-san could be the funny girl. A comedy duo or a double act is a traditional form of humor in which a duo has completely different personalities, where the straight man is usually serious and down to earth, and the funny man is ridiculous and a tad crazy. The same could be said of the following pairings: me and you and Saya, Nico and Jeun-kun, and me and Nico. Hey, I disagree with that. I'm clearly the straight man in our pairing. Who are you trying to fool here? You've barely qualified to be the straight man in your pairing with Kobayashi-kun. Hey, rude! The only thing worse than a fool is a fool in denial. Hey! Guys, please don't start arguing. I have to leave to go backstage in 2 minutes, and I'd very much prefer if you didn't kill each other while I was gone. Keikun and Shuichi fist bump, smiling smugly at me. I stare at them exasperated. When does your performance start again? 12:30, but I still need to go backstage to prepare. All participants are supposed to wait back there for their performances. Sounds like waiting for your performance to come up will be boring. No offense, Mizuguchi-san, but why did you come if you dislike classical music that much? To cheer you on, of course. I was actually going to bring a bunch of bandanas and a cheering flag I'd made at home, but Keikun said I wasn't allowed to. She pouts. I already told you this is classical music. Making any sort of noise during the performance is in bad form. You might distract the competitors. Ooh, that's boring. If you don't want to watch it, then just go home. No, then I won't be able to watch Jeun-kun perform. Then stop whining. Saya pursed her lips, annoyed. You don't have to say it like that. Mizuguchi-san, you already know this is going to be a classical music performance. You knew other people would be performing, and you knew you didn't like this sort of music. So why did you choose to only complain now? Why do you even show up at all? Because I had to encourage Kobayashi-kun, of course. Keikun looked over to Jeun and snapped his fingers, calling his attention. Hey, Kobayashi. What? Yeah? How do you feel about somebody coming to watch who hates the music and is only here because they think they have to? Well... Jeun glances over at Saya, sheepishly rubbing his cheek. I want people to appreciate my music, so... It makes me feel a bit uncomfortable if someone is coming over against their will. But I'm really happy to have you all here. I'm really touched that you'd come all the way here to see me perform, even more so knowing that you don't really like classical music. So are you happy about it or not? Which one is it? Yeah, you're 100% contradicting yourself. I might have gone a little too far, sorry. I was only trying to make the point that complaining about being here in front of Kobayashi would only make him feel bad. Sorry for putting you on the spot, Kobayashi. As if on cue, Saya bows down. I'm sorry if I've been complaining too much. Well, no, it's fine. It doesn't bother me too much. Honestly, I'm just happy you all cared enough to come see me. Of course we'd show up. You're one of us now. Sai gives him a thumbs up, smiling widely. Yes, you're one of us now. My condolences. Honestly, I wouldn't lose this for anything. Just go kick some ass, okay? Shuichi gives him a few light taps on the back. After they all say their piece, all four of them turn over to me, looking at me with expectation. What? Come on, Nico. Give him some words of encouragement. Oh, well... It's okay, Nico-san. You don't need to say anything. A beeping noise echoes throughout the lobby's sound system. Competitors in the 12th Sakura University Piano Competition, please move backstage for preparations. I have to go. Already? Can't you stay a little longer? No, it's easier for the organizers if we're all already backstage. Plus, I need to change and I need time to focus. So... good luck, Kobayashi-kun. Jeun nods, turning around to join the mass of people who start going towards the backstage. Jeun! I don't know why, but I suddenly had an urge to speak up. I called out to him after he took a few steps away from us. Jeun turned around, looking at me with curiosity. I believe in you. Jeun looked dazed for a second, as if he didn't quite grasp my words. Thank you. This time, he ran away, quickly joining the others and disappearing from our sights. Well, I guess we already know who his favorite is. Huh? Why is he so much happier when you encouraged him? You didn't even say 5 words. What? When did the two of you get so close that you'd be able to lift his spirits so much? Even you? Whatever. I don't care anymore. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Shouting out, I don't care anymore, isn't the sort of thing a person does when they, quote unquote, don't care. Shut up! Yes, ma'am. I've known her for 12 years and I still have no clue how her mind operates. And you'll know her for 70 years more and still won't understand it. Just roll with it. Shuichi puts a hand on my shoulder. Well, as much as I dread the idea, I have to go freshen up a bit. Can't exactly sit down to watch the performances smelling like a musky husky. They'll be opening the sitting area now, so I'm gonna go get us some seats. A girl gets up from the piano, bowing to the crowd and walking out of the stage. She gets a very lukewarm reception, with only a few claps here and there. Weak. Keikun has criticized every single performance that has been put out so far. I know classical tends to be boring, but I can barely stay awake right now. Hey, Rushihara, have they all been that bad? You haven't had a single good thing to say about their performances. Not bad per se, but not good either. None of them stand out. Hey, Nico-san, you're the only one who's seen Kobayashi perform. Do you think he's better than them? Well, none of their performances has made me feel the same way as Jeun's did. When I saw him play, I felt like the music was calling to me, tugging at my heartstrings. I felt like I needed to get closer to feel all the keys pounding with my whole body. But these kids, I don't feel anything. No rush, no excitement, nothing. I don't really know much about music, but I know that they don't really do anything for me. I think Jeun is much better. And the next performer will be Shinji Akutagawa, performing Franz Liszt's Grande Fantasie de Bravoure sur le Chocolat. The crowd starts clapping as a lion walks into the stage, donning a black suit, waving at the audience with a confident smile on his face. That's him. How do you think his performance will go? I don't know. I hope for Kobayashi's sake that he's not good. The lion sits down in front of the piano. The audience goes dead silent almost by instinct. Suddenly, I feel very on edge. The few seconds of silence before he begins his performance starts to fill me with a sense of dread. What if he's good? What then? I feel like my heart is going to explode. If I'm like this, how must Jeun be feeling right now? I hope he's okay. He starts performing and I instinctively hold my breath. The keys echo softly, slowly beginning to weave a slow melody. This doesn't seem as amazing as Keikun mentioned. I start feeling angry at him and Jeun for making me feel so on edge for nothing. This is what you're afraid of? This is nothing. No, he's good. But this song sounds so easy. Grande Fantasie starts off really slow. It suddenly speeds up at about 3 minutes. That's what will make or break his performance. If he can do that part correctly, then... Here it comes. He suddenly speeds up his performance so much that I can barely recognize it as the same song. He's not just fast, he's oppressively fast. I feel as if I'm suddenly being pounded into submission. I instinctively hold my breath. My heart rate increases exponentially. I feel like the sheer magnitude of his performance forbids me from uttering a single word. There's so much I want to say, but my body is frozen in place and refuses to listen. The words are caught in my throat, unable to be let out. If it's like this, if he's this good... Shit, please don't let Jeun be watching this performance. Please, God, don't let him watch this. If he does, I'm pretty sure his spirit will break. He finally stops his performance. It feels as if the enormous weight that was pressing down on the audience is suddenly lifted as everyone breathes a collective sigh of relief. Akutagawa-kun gets up from his seat, panting heavily. His legs wobble a bit, but he makes his way to the front of the stage, bowing down to the audience. The crowd immediately erupts in cheers, giving Akutagawa-kun a standing ovation. The sound is so loud that it almost shakes the entire concert hall. His was without a doubt the best performance so far, and you can tell that from how the crowd reacts. After bowing down to the crowd, he walks out of the stage as there is another beep followed by the announcer's voice. There will now be a 15-minute interval. Audience members are advised to not be away from their seats for more than 10 minutes as they might miss some of the ensuing performance. Shit. Keikun was the first to break the deathly silence that had fallen on us. When's Kobayashi-kun's performance? I swallow hard, trying to steady myself. He's next. Double shit. Yeah. Having to follow up on a performance like that, I don't think he'd be able to. If he watched this, something in my heart tells me that he watched that performance, and I know he wouldn't be able to go out on stage after that. Save my seat for me. What? I get up from my seat and run out of the hall. I run to the backstage entrance. when I try walking through the door, a ram dressed in a uniform stops me. "Excuse me, sir. Only competitors are allowed backstage." "I need to see my friend." "I'm sorry, but like I said, only competitors are all..." Like I care! I pushed him to the side, nearly knocking him against the corridor wall, and ran past him. "Wait, stop!" It isn't hard at all for me to bolt past him. As soon as I'm in, I start looking for Jeun. Where could he... I stop dead on my tracks as I see a familiar figure wearing a white suit sitting down on the floor, his face buried in his knees and his entire body shaking as very quietly he sobs. "Jeun?" I timidly reach out to him, putting a hand on his shoulder. He looks up at me, tears streaming down his face. "Oh, Nika-san?" It takes him a while to recognize me. As soon as he does, he wipes his tears away with the cuff of his suit. "What are you doing here?" Hey! The employee I knocked aside when I barged my way into the backstage comes up to us, looking furious. "You, kid, come back here." Shit. He grabs my arm and starts pulling me away from Jeun. No, wait. I need to stay here. "I don't give a flying rat's ass. I'm kicking you out of..." "Wait." Jeun calls out to the man holding me. He stops and looks back. "I'm a competitor. Aren't I allowed by the rules to have someone with me for support?" Jeun gets up from the floor, staring down the employee, which is quite a feat considering the man is taller than even me. "What? That's usually reserved for family, and you have to declare them beforehand." "I understand, but my parents couldn't attend today due to personal reasons, so I asked my friends to come with me. I'm sorry, could you please let him stay?" "What? This kid nearly threw me against the wall trying to bust his way in. You're asking me to let that slide?" "I'm deeply sorry." Jeun bows, his face going so low that I'm afraid he'll just keep going and will hit the floor. "Wait, Jeun, you don't have to apologize for my "I'm so sorry. He was just worried about me. He didn't know what he was doing. I'll take full responsibility for his actions." "Jeun!" The ram looks from me towards Jeun, who is still bowing. His expression seems to have softened a bit, but he still looks very angry. "I'll get on my knees and beg if you want me to." "What? No! Jeun, that's going too far. I should be the one apologizing." "There's no need." The ram lets go of my hand. His eyes are fixed on Jeun. "Lift your head, kid. If it's that important to you, I'll let your friend stay. I won't report this, otherwise you could end up being penalized due to him." Jeun straightens himself back up, smiling at the employee. "Thank you, sir." He nods. "Don't mention it. And you?" He turns to look at me, and that sharp, angry look flashes again in his eyes. "Behave, and thank your lucky stars no one else was here to see this, or you could have hurt your friend's chances." He turns around and walks away, turning at the corridor, disappearing from our sight. Jeun lets out a sigh of relief as he leans his back against the wall and slumps back down to the ground. Jeun, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
I know. What are you doing here, Nico-san?
I came back to check up on you. I was worried.
That's so.
He hugs his knees, resting his chin on them and looking straight ahead.
Akutagawa-kun was something else. After I saw his performance, I just felt like it was impossible for me to beat him.
So it's like I thought. He really did watch that performance, and it really did crush his spirit. I sit down next to Jeun, as close as I can without actually touching him. He seems to hold his breath for a second, unsure of what I'm doing. Then he relaxes.
I'm sorry to have worried you.
It's okay. It's what friends are for. What about now? How do you feel? His body starts shaking again.
I shouldn't have come. This was a mistake. I should have just stayed out of the competitions.
I shift my body and kneel next to him, reaching out my hand to touch his face. Jeun freezes, looking at me like a deer in the headlights. I wipe away the tears that are beginning with my right hand, caressing his cheek as I do so. That's not true, Jeun. You've been practicing day and night for this. You're more than ready.
No, I can't play.
His voice sounded so distant and lonely. There has to be a way for me to console him. Maybe... Before I even have time to properly think about it, I wrap my arms around Jeun, pulling him close to me and placing his head on my chest.
What are you? Nico-san.
It's okay. I start stroking the back of his head, doing my best to sound warm and welcoming. Soon enough, the dam bursts. Jeun clings tightly to my shirt and buries his head on my chest, sobbing. I hold him there for what feels like many minutes, waiting for him to calm down. Little by little, his sobs become quieter and less numerous. When it seems that his sobbing has finally died down, I speak up. Why do you think you can't play? Jeun pulls away from me, looking down at the floor. Once again, I wipe the tears from his face and smile at him.
My hands, they feel cold.
I realize that his hands are still shaking. I grab hold of one of his hands and give it a squeeze. You mean this hand? He pulls his hand away from me, looking down at the floor and nodding.
They feel so cold. I can barely even move them. I don't know what to do. I can't play like this.
His voice is so small and sad, I'm afraid he might start crying at any second. He's so nervous that his hands and maybe feet are feeling cold. I remember I used to feel the same when I had just started playing competitively. Jeun, give me your hand. Even when stressed, he diligently does what I ask of him. I grab his wrists and put both of his hands together, palm against palm. Then, I wrap my hands around his.
What?
I gently pull his hands towards me and exhale on them.
Nico-san, what are you doing?
I look him in the eye, making sure to give him the gentlest, warmest smile I can. I'm warming your hands up so you can play. I know his hands aren't actually cold, but I'm just hoping I can somehow get him past whatever block has him like this. I've managed to defuse his last panic attack. I won't be giving up with this one. Hey Jeun-kun, don't you think this is alright? I speak in a soft voice. My use of the honorific seems to have caught his attention. I caress the back of his hands with my thumbs, trying to seem as encouraging as I can. You've been working your hardest so far, wanting to show everyone your performance. A performance only you can make. Isn't that true? A performance only I can make? I nod slowly. I don't understand much about music myself, but shouldn't your music get your feelings across? Then why don't you, instead of worrying about getting a perfect performance, just try to show everyone how you feel? I loved watching that first performance of yours. I know I've seen you perform once or twice after that, but that one really struck a chord with me. I felt as if your song was calling out to me. It was warm and gentle and passionate. I'm sure you weren't trying to show people how good your skills were. You were just happy to play and wanted to pour your feelings into the piano. So, why can't you do that again?
If I did that, I wouldn't be able to win.
I shake my head in negative. I don't believe that, for even just a second. No one in this hall has managed to touch me the way you're playing did, Jeun. I believe in you. No matter what you do, I'm sure you'll be doing your best. So isn't this alright? Can't you just play how you want to play? I don't know how these competitions are judged, but wouldn't it be better if you put out the best performance you can instead of just worrying about getting everything completely perfect? Jeun stares at me. His fur is matted from the tears and his eyes are red, but he looks calm. I hold his hands a little bit tighter, trying to encourage him any way I can. Jeun nods.
I'll try. I'll try to put your feelings in my music. Hopefully.
He doesn't finish his sentence, but I already know he can do it. As long as he can stay calm, there's no reason he wouldn't be able to. Jeun Kobayashi? The worker from before peeks his head through the hallway, calling out Jeun's name. Jeun pulls away from me and immediately gets up.
Yes?
The interval is about to end. You have 2 minutes.
All right.
Jeun nods, suddenly full of energy. The ram smiles and walks away.
All right, Nico-san. I'm going now. Please watch over my performance.
Right. I have to hurry back to my seat then. See you later.
See you later.
I turn to walk away.
Oh, and one more thing.
What is it?
Thank you.
Caught by surprise, I don't react for a few seconds. Then I nod and start running back to my seat. By the time I reach my seat, Jeun is already halfway to the piano. Where the hell were you? Shuichi leans up to me, frowning. I went to see Jeun. What? Why would you? Shh. Someone shushes us from behind. Shuichi glares at me and leans back into his own seat. Jeun sits in front of the piano, putting one of his hands on his knee and the other on his chest. He seems to be holding something. A pendant? Even if I have good eyesight, I can barely make it out. After what seems to be a full minute, he finally adjusts himself on his seat and places his hands on the keys. The song starts very slow. Jeun plays the initial keys with only one hand. The few whispers that could be heard in the audience seem to have died down the instant he started to play. Even though his movement seems to be tense and robotic, the melody comes out easily and is pleasing to hear. As he continues to play, Jeun seems to relax. He starts swaying back and forth to the rhythm of the melody. His tail begins to move slowly in the air. He's definitely getting into it. Looking to the side, I see Keikun tapping his feet to the sound of the music. Saya looks for the first time like she's completely awake and not about to doze off. Shuichi's lips are curved in a proud smile, as if he were a dad watching his son's first ball game. Here it comes. Keikun murmurs just as the song seems to slow down to a halt. Then, the song immediately picks up the pace, completely switching gears and becoming insanely fast. No way! Keikun's reaction mirrors that of the entire audience. Surprise, perplexity, admiration. It is without a doubt that Jeun is playing this song flawlessly. Even a layman like me can tell. As he continues to hammer out the keys with practiced skill, Jeun's entire body moves along to the melody, creating a vivid performance that fills the halls with a rich, confident sound. I feel it echoing deep inside my chest. This is the same feeling as when I saw him playing for the first time. It takes every fiber of self-control I have to keep myself from getting up and walking towards the stage. I want to get even closer. It's so moving that I feel like I can cry. With the performances already over for the day, all that is left is to wait for the results to be posted. Jeun has been pouting ever since he came out to the lobby, already changed into his regular clothes. I already told you to cheer up. Your performance was amazing. Stop sulking. Just telling him to cheer up isn't going to magically cheer him up, you know. The three of us have been trying to up Jeun's spirits since he rejoined us. Unfortunately, results have been very mixed. Meanwhile, Saya is waiting by the notice board to see the results when they finally get posted. I just feel like I bombed it. You didn't bomb it. I'm telling you, your performance was amazing. There's no doubt in my mind that you snagged second place. But I need first place. If I don't get it, there's no chance for me to go to Germany. I know that. I just can't tell you that you'll win because I'm not so sure. I think it'll be very close. I don't really understand much about music, but I thought Jeun-kun's performance was better, didn't you? It depends. Kobayashi didn't go with the standard interpretation, and that might not fly well with the judges. Regardless, I know that in technical terms, he was number one, but it basically comes down to whether or not the judges like his interpretation of the song. Even if Akutagawa's performance was higher in technical skill due to the duration of that piece, Kobayashi's was faster and more refined. It comes down to the judge's personal taste, then? That doesn't sound too good.
It's not. That's why everyone tends to only play the standard interpretation. You won't charm any judges with your individuality, but you'll make sure none will dislike you so much that they fail you.
I didn't know that. I suddenly feel very awkward for suggesting that he do that. If Jeun ends up failing because of this, I'll feel incredibly guilty for a long time. I'm sorry, Jeun. I shouldn't have suggested you play like that. Wait, you're the one who suggested he do that? Of all the reckless things... Jeun lifts a hand up in the air, cutting Keikun off mid-sentence.
It's alright, Nico-san. That was good advice for me. If I had gotten fixated on playing the song perfectly instead of just playing how I wanted, I would have been crushed by my own anxiety. Playing it like that is the only reason I was able to play at all. If they fail me for that, then so be it.
What is this adorable creature? Before my impulses can take me over and force me to hug the shit out of Jeun, Shinji Akutagawa approaches us. There you are. I've been looking for you for almost 10 minutes. The look on his face is both angry and scary. Even I suddenly feel like taking a step back. Jeun, on the other hand, doesn't retreat. He stares back at the line with an intensity that I never thought he was capable of.
It's a big lobby after all. How are you doing, Akutagawa-kun?
Honestly, of all the stupid things you could have done, why didn't you go with the standard interpretation? You basically threw in the towel the moment you did that. It's very subtle, but I can notice Jeun's body shifting a little bit when he hears that. Maybe he's not as confident as he's trying to portray himself. Jeun looks down at the floor for just a second. At least that's what I'd like to say. Akutagawa sighs, lifting both of his hands to the air and shrugging. I never thought you could do that well. I thought you'd be rusty after being out of the stages for 7 years. Instead, you come back sharper than before. Akutagawa's penetrating gaze softens considerably as he looks over the perplexed tiger. Congratulations, Kobayashi-kun. No matter what the judges say, you're the victor today. But I won't lose next time. Without even giving him time to answer, the lion turns and walks away, leaving Jeun gaping in his spot. Well, that was something. That guy's weird for sure. Jeun catches everyone by surprise when he suddenly hunches and starts laughing loudly. What the?
Sorry. He takes a few seconds to calm himself, wiping away a small tear from his left eye. How can he laugh so carefree like that? Akutagawa-kun really hasn't changed at all. He was always pretty blunt about stuff like that.
You're telling me he was always like that? Jeun nods.
Akutagawa-kun is very demanding of himself. He's always quick to praise people when he thinks they deserve it, and always admits his own shortcomings when he thinks they exist. He always admits defeat if he thinks he's been defeated. Even if the judges give him first place, he'll still consider himself the loser. That's the kind of pianist he is.
Talk about serious attitude.
It's what you expect from someone aiming for the pros. He doesn't have time to make excuses for himself. He just takes in everything that he can and moves on.
I guess we could all stand to learn a few things from that guy then.
Guys!
Saya comes running towards us, yelling so loudly that everyone in earshot turns to look at the source of this sudden noise.
The results!
Huh? How did it go? What were they? Saya's hunching over, her hands on her knees, panting and gasping desperately for air.
First place! Really?
Jeun immediately latches onto her, grabbing her arms with both of his hands and looking her in the eye. Saya swallows once and nods emphatically.
You got first place!
Jeun stares at her, wide-eyed. His hands start to shake and he stumbles backwards, collapsing on a nearby bench. Big droplets start welling up in his eyes. He pulls out a pendant from his pocket and holds it tightly in his hands, touching it to his forehead.
Thank God.
He then starts sobbing uncontrollably. So that concludes day 9. Wow. It gets really intense towards the end, to say the least. Like, the first time I read it, I was just shaking during the whole scene backstage. Yeah, so what I'm going to be doing, since after class is kind of in that weird beginning phase of things, I'm going to do one video of Echo this week, sometime this weekend for sure. And then maybe if I have time, I'm going to release another Tennis Ace episode. I did the screen recording for all of day 10, but it's a character select day or a choose your own path for one day kind of thing. And that means it's a long one. It is 2 hours and 10 minutes for the entire day. So I'm going to split it up into 3 parts, I think, and we'll go from there. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy your weekend, and with that out of the way, take care, guys.